Now, John Yates Fan Club 5 has been up for a minute, and John hasn't bothered with it because it hasn't been very serious. But lately, this past week or maybe 2 weeks, a lot of the long-time fan clubbers have showed up, and they've showed up with their receipts. Specifically, receipts going back for years that show John's patterns of behavior. He always switches out his hags except for a few long-standing ones, which are dwindling away. And for very good reason. Because if you keep pulling the same old stunts over and over again, people start to see it. And even people with minimal brain activity can start to see that he's not a victim, that he just keeps fighting and fighting the same fights and using the same cowardly ways out time and time again. Even the slowest of them will start to notice, well, hey, he has pet crises all the time. He has health crises all the time. He has legal crises all the time. He done said he had cancer. Now Chody's saying he has cancer. He keeps using the same methods for scamming over and over again, so naturally he needs new people. Well, these new people don't know about all the times in the past, and so he don't like those times being brought to the front where they can see. A shout out to the mod of that club, ATV Reporter, because they've archived these things so they are not gone. And they fully intend to keep making new ones as quick as sausage fingers can take them down. They'll not be gone. But in addition to that, I wanted to start this new series, What John Yates Doesn't Want You to See. Highlights from Reddit. This is the first one. But since whatever we posted this last week or two's got their panties in a wad, I thought let's start with that. So come with me and let's go through what was recently posted that had them so upset.
You know that we're strangers to all of you, mostly. So are y'all gonna be there for me, like when when I need money for attorneys and this shit like that? Like, I don't have a money tree in my backyard. I can't cover this all on my own. I can't. I can't work. I can't cover all this on my own, and I'm not rich. And despite what Maria Vega and Anne and Brooke had said, that I stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from this woman, if I did, then I'd have retainers across the fucking land.
This here's your typical legal crisis. He's had quite a few of those, but for a review, there was one where multiple people, including a couple cast members, had gotten together and filed a suit against him. Now, he'll tell you he won that. He did not. Nobody won, nobody lost. It was simply dismissed because it was improper jurisdiction, as was predicted by multiple lawyers across the internet. My point is, after begging and receiving thousands of dollars from his followers, he did not need to appear in court. He did not need an attorney to represent him. So what did he do with those thousands of dollars? Besides get the idea that this is easy pickings for his hags. Because then came another one. This one was a restraining order from Lita. Now, you don't need an attorney for a restraining order. You don't need to go to court and fight it. Fight what? All it meant is he had to stop talking about her. How hard is that? Is that hard? No. You just shut your mouth for a while. They have an expiration date. And surely, as soon as that ended, he was back to talking about her. So why did he collect thousands of dollars to go head-to-head legally with Lita when all he did is walk away with fuller pockets? Then there was the Home Depot gin crisis. He collected again. Oh, I need money for a lawyer. He didn't pay nothing. Mama Big Red Beth drove him up to Indiana for that court hearing. He didn't have a lawyer. He came in. She had been just as messy as he had all over social media, so it was dismissed. Mama Big Red Beth drove him up there, paid for the hotel, paid for lunch, paid for everything, drove him back home like the baby that he is. Why did he need thousands of dollars? He didn't use it in that case. Again, fuller pockets. And now what's he begging for? Maria done filed a restraining order on him too. He don't need no lawyer. He just needs to stop talking about her. It's not hard to do. So why are y'all filling his pockets once again? And now we got these petty poopy stories. Someone sent him some poop. Well, that ain't even the nastiest thing in that whole cottage. And this is a good one that always gets me. You'll hear them from time to time bragging about the money they got. I remember them bragging about how much was in their account, and Chody saying they wiped their asses with $100 bills. That's back when they were taking all of Kathy Natalie's money. And once we saw all them receipts, all the money she was giving them, month after month, and during that time, they were still online begging. Still, there is never enough for these two. And why can't y'all see it? Why do you keep falling for it and falling for it over and over again? Can't y'all see?
What hospital are you at? I'm in North Carolina. Oh, okay. So right. We just traveled here, and that was the misunderstanding, because when we finally got here last night, I was made aware of.
This is why you.
Because when we finally got here last night, I was made aware of these videos being done. So I said I was sick of being lied about.
And this is why you went to a hotel instead of going.
And this story starts like a year ago, almost to the day, when he got a second YouTube strike against his channel and got banned from going live for like a month. And he panicked, and he told his friends he did something silly. And of course, Sausage Fingers Julie has to make a big old federal case out of it, start posting from her Instagram, listing off names of people, pushing blame on them for something that supposedly happened, when, come to find out, when the police records came out, they didn't match what he said. When the medical records came out, they didn't match what he said at all. But he stuck to his silly story, and in spite of him showing what he called his proof, he kept sticking to it, when we could easily see by his so-called proof that he was lying and faking about something you should never lie and fake about. He ended up losing his panel, losing 90% of his friends, any of them with the smallest amount of brain activity, long gone. He lost a big chunk of members. But the more this alleged proof got passed around, the more people saw it was fake and stopped listening to him, stopped following him and stuff. He just got madder and more defensive, and finally, around December 10th, he decides to do something about it, and does something silly again, this time a little deeper than before. So he decides, hey, I'm going to pass this new proof around and try to convince everyone that this is from back in June. So that's what he does. He didn't anticipate that Amber was going to call the police on him. So that coincided with the trip down here to see a friend of his that's in the hospital. And while he's there going off on a live about Brooke, he shows his phone. Well, what we notice is there's a phone call from the New Jersey police. Now, why are they calling him when he's down there? He's also talking about his car being damaged. So I'm thinking, well, maybe he did a hit and run and he fled down south, so the police were trying to find him. But that didn't turn out to be what it was about. It turned out it's because Amber called the police, and the police were looking for him. So he stayed away from home for weeks, hiding behind his green screen so the people couldn't see where he was. Because he knew if the police saw him in that new condition he was in, that they was going to take him in again, and he didn't want that to happen. So he hid out until his proof could heal somewhat, and that wouldn't happen. Now, we noticed in this green screen fail that it looks very much like he's probably staying at Angela's again, just to hiding out from the police so they don't take him in again. And if y'all remember, there was a post on FanClub at the time where he had also shoved his phone up into the camera, and there at the top was a message from Sausage Fingers herself saying, John, keep your sleeves down. Now, why was she saying that in December? He'd shown his arms all that time, so why was she saying, oh, keep it hidden? Because it was new, and she knew it. And this is exactly why him and Sausage Fingers do not want FanClub left up, because we keep records, we keep proof, we document his lies, and he doesn't like it. And things like this, him claiming, I don't go real life, I never called anybody's job, I never this, I never that. How many times in the last couple weeks has he offered money for someone to reveal to him who Vault is? How many times has he threatened Maria's members that used to pay to be his own members, and then saying things like this about their kids? And the thing is, I have years worth of screenshots where he has posted people's homes with maps to their house information claiming they're going into foreclosure. He has posted government employees' work addresses and information and told people to call. He has posted military people's information and told people to call. He has posted wife's information, a woman who worked at a cancer unit during the pandemic, and he posted her work information and told his hacks to call and tell her bosses that her husband was racist. Foolish things like this. He has posted multiple people's work information and their neighbors' information and their relatives' information, constantly going real life. Now this one I posted on my Instagram, so I won't go too deep into it, but just a reminder that for years and years, he was Larissa's biggest supporter, always defending the fact that she left her kids back in Brazil. She has not seen them children in, over 6 years, but he's attacking this new woman? Such a hypocrite. Now we see these silly new hags who were new to drinking this Kool-Aid, but they are slurping it up, every drop of it. And not only are they paying out, but now they're out here begging for other people to start paying out. Oh, every single dollar will help go to the cause right now. What cause? What cause? He has had legal causes and medical causes and everything all along. And what has he ever paid out in legal fees? What court has he ever attended with a lawyer at his side with these so-called legal fees? These stupid causes are nothing but what they've always been. His rent, his booze, and his cigarettes. Shame on you, Brooklyn. Then things get really crazy and he pulls out a couple knives and sits there like some kind of fool, showing his knives on the camera, saying, oh, this is what it's come to again. Now, a normal person would have a shocked reaction to this. Or maybe those of us who've seen it a million times, we go, oh, there he's being dramatic again. He just needs some money. But no, what do these hags do? Oh, let's send him some money. Let's start a GoFundMe. Ladies, that is not a normal reaction to seeing a 44-year-old man who loves to show scars on his videos sitting there holding 2 knives. It's crazy. And your mind goes to, let's start a GoFundMe? Are you serious? Do you not see this man needs help? I'm convinced y'all like it this way. Y'all like seeing these crazy stunts. It gives you some kind of sicko entertainment value. Y'all are messed up too. Y'all need help too. When the wind's blowing out the east, he loves where he lives. When it's blowing out the west, all of a sudden he's going to sell a kidney or a lung to get out of there. That's why all these stories about his impending eviction go around, because it ain't normal to talk like, oh, I just got to get out of here. I got to sell body parts. I'm telling you, them body parts ain't no good for selling anybody. But anyway, when he starts saying stuff like that, you start to wonder, does he not have his rent payment? And y'all think he's got all these cast connections because you've seen him over at Angela's place. Or Paul will show up. Well, Paul will literally talk to any blogger, and he does. These people no longer put faith or trust in John. When's the last time you saw any current cast come around him? Even his old friends are avoiding him. He did have some close friendships with a few cast members years and years ago, but he blew it. He would get mad over the silliest little thing and expose their private messages with him. He lost any amount of trust or respectability anybody had ever put in him when he did that. After seeing him do that and going over some of the cast's financial records and making wild accusations and things, people don't want to be friends with someone like that. They don't trust someone like that. And in the first place, these supposed friends were people like Larissa and Ashley and Ricky, people that wanted, and Devin, they wanted lies spread. And at that time, he did have a lot more followers than he has now. And so he would put their stories out, their lies out, and help them out. But then not only did people figure out they were lies that he was helping them spread, he himself, when he fell out with them, he told everybody they were lies. Remember this? Ashley saying she had kidney failure because of lupus? A lot of people knew that wasn't true, and that she went and got a tummy tuck. But later, when he fell out with Ashley, he started calling it floopus and started spilling all her secrets, which when they were good friends, he was fine keeping all her secrets then. But only when she called him messy, because he is messy, did he go out and spill all the truths on her. He never had the kind of connections that his hags believed that he had. He was simply used by liars to put out their lies. And it all backfired. And that's why now, when he's reaching out to them for help, they're like, John Yates who? And FanClub's been proven for years that he's been buying followers. He loves to brag about how many IG followers he has. But we had screenshots of him coming up with like 20,000 in one day, and he hadn't even posted anything. And then we'd watch as Instagram took him away in big old chunks. So we knew he was buying. When this person, they found this one place that sells them, and they put in his email address. Come to find out, he already has an account with them. So this is one of the who knows how many places he was buying followers from. That's why when you look at his posts and even his videos on YouTube, you see his engagement is terrible. Hardly anybody liking, hardly anybody commenting, almost nothing, because most of his followers and subscribers are bots. This is not his first, but his first well-known GoFundMe. This was way back when he used to work and have a semi-normal life, but he got all carried away on his Instagram and he kept going live all night and not going to work, and he got fired. They didn't pay their rent, so Chody was still trying to work, but John would be keeping him up all night with his ridiculousness on Instagram. There was one time poor Chody had to go out and sleep in the car because John wouldn't shut up, and he had to go to work in the morning. And he would say things to John like, well, I gotta go to work tomorrow. You ain't got nowhere to be. So we all knew John wasn't going to work no more. So they get this eviction notice and they tell everybody they gotta be out. Well, people who lived in New York knew that they had much more time to come up with this, but instead, they have this GoFundMe, and here's what they say. John's sitting there lying, saying they both work full-time. They certainly did not. Only Chody did at that time. They also claim that Chody's family disowned him for being with him. Now, how many times lately have we heard Chody on the phone with his mama? How many brags has he made lately about his mama sending him money? And that he can use the family lawyers and stuff like that? So this was all a big lie. John saying his whole bloodline was dead. How many of his relatives have shown up since then now that we all know? Maybe his grandparents and a couple aunts or something like that. But the rest of his family's still alive and well. They got over $6,000. Did they pay their landlord? They did not. They took off. They went and saw Danielle. They saw Home Depot Jen. And they went to Nebraska for a couple of weeks and then headed right on back and moved in with Megan. So this money was fraudulently taken and not used for the purposes it was supposed to be used for. It's a pattern of bad behavior. Now, here's an even earlier GoFundMe set up by Mama Big Red Beth, supposedly for medical needs. I guess this is when he broke an arm or something. I didn't know about him then. But this is a pattern of grifting for medical crises. Everybody has medical crises, but we pay our own bills. Resorting to begging online is just ridiculous. How many single moms out there are struggling and they're paying all their bills themselves regardless of how hard they have to work and what they have to do? But Mr. Well, I don't want to put money in somebody else's pocket. Thinks he's too good for hard work because he'd rather sit back and let these old ladies take place of his grandma who spoiled him and raised him and just keep giving him money so he don't have to do nothing.
I'm in danger.
So after he got back from Nebraska, he lands a spot with a hag who was a caretaker for a mansion. Her husband was a cop, and she was a bored day-drinking housewife who thought she could make a cooking channel and thought that John could use his so-called influence to help her grow a channel. But by then, people had already figured out that he was a loser and couldn't really do anything to help her. I think he got her like maybe 500 followers or something real funny like that. But anyway, people found out where he was staying, and they contacted the police department where the husband worked at and the owners of the home, and they ended up getting kicked out. And they got really mad about it, called CPS on her, did some damage to his car, some silly things like that, because they were mad because they lost their free ride, and that was the first time they ended up living over in Seaside. But they didn't want to admit that, so they go telling everybody they got some kind of filming contract, and they were flying out to LA to become famous on TV for something. I don't know how they thought they was going to pull that off with never showing up on TV, what they were going to say, but the hags believed him like they always do. Always believe, no matter how crazy and foolish these stories come out, they believe it. They was wishing him good luck and all kinds of things, and he did this, carried this out for quite a while till he got really super cold, and he didn't want to spend the holidays in a green crack motel, so he put out a general beg for someone to take them in for the holidays, and that's how they ended up in Home Depot Jen's place. It's a long, documented list of grifts and scams and lies, and this is why they cannot leave a fan club up, because we keep posting this proof, and they don't want it out there to stop any future hags from paying up. And here's his statement of lies from that time. He lost a lot of followers back then, but these same die-hard hags that are still there now, they just bought it all up and just excused it all away. I don't know how you excuse someone who just keeps lying and lying like this. This is his pattern of behavior. Get himself in a tight spot and lie and pull some kind of pity grift, whatever he's got to do to keep that money rolling in. These inward accusations been going around for a while now. And this was about the breakup of him and Ashley. He had called a cast member's daughter fat, and a lot of people got mad about it at the time. This is why him and Danielle fought, because Danielle defended the child, Ashley defended the child, called him messy, and that was just the end of things. He lost his mind over that and just spilled all of Ashley's secrets and said the cruelest, nastiest thing about Danielle, who'd been such a good friend, is the one who gave him the start. He loves to talk about walking red carpets. It was some silly little event, wasn't even televised, that he attended with Ashley, and I guess there was a red carpet, so he felt like he had walked Hollywood's red carpets or something. But yeah, he loves to pretend that him and Ashley are still friends by having her picture up on his thing. But she is done with this man. So like I said before, shout out to this mod, ATV Reporter. They have put up multiple sites that keep getting taken down. They promise they'll bring one back again, and we're not going to stop. Like I said, I'm putting this on my YouTube. I might share some of it on my Instagram. We're not going to be chased away because of these false copyright strikes. We will find a way to keep telling the truth about this man who has grifted thousands and thousands of dollars from these women. And it just tells us the fact that they want this stuff down so fast that they know they're wrong. If you have nothing to hide, it don't matter if somebody posts about your actions online. If you're not ashamed of it, what do you care if it's up there? These things are his own words, actions, deeds. These are not things that we made up. These are not lies. This is not slander. These are his own posts, his own words, his own actions. It's a pattern of lies and scams. And we are not gonna stop bringing it to light.